how a U.S. pilot invented a tactic that made Japanese aces helpless. On August 7, 1942, over the Solomon Islands, 18 Japanese Zeros encountered a sight they thought impossible: American transport ships and Marines on Guadalcanal. Among the pilots was Saburo Sakai, a seasoned flyer with a 1,000-year samurai lineage. He was a petty officer, a senior enlisted aviator whose flight log dwarfed those of many commissioned officers. He had battled pilots over China, Clark Field, Java, and Port Moresby. His Zero, tailcode V107 and later V173, was notorious among Allied recognition officers. The pilot never lost. Above him flew Lieutenant Commander Tadashi Nakajima, the Tainan Air Group's flying officer, leading one of the Imperial Navy's most decorated fighter units. The events of the next 48 hours would irrevocably change the Imperial Japanese Navy. Initially, American F4F Wildcats from the carrier Saratoga fought predictably, making quick passes and diving away. Sakai himself downed a Wildcat flown by Lieutenant James Puck Sutherland in a grueling 20-minute dogfight. Sutherland, a Naval Academy graduate, fought on despite his guns jamming, forcing Sakai to fire over 200 rounds before finally bringing him down. Sutherland bailed out, wounded, but was rescued by Solomon Islanders. Sakai returned with another kill, but also a new, unsettling respect for American pilots. Then, something shifted. Nakajima returned from a mission, shaken. He had been the hunter, yet a second Wildcat had blindsided him, guns blazing, forcing him to break off. Sakai saw Nakajima's trembling hand and knew something fundamental had changed. In the barracks at Rabaul, pilots whispered, "Who taught the Americans to fight like this?" They believed Americans were not natural dogfighters, flying inferior planes, yet now two could defeat their best pilots. The answer lay with John Smith Thatch, a man Nakajima had never heard of, who, 9 months before, had devised a solution on his kitchen table in Coronado, California. In the early 1940s, Japanese fighter pilots and their Zeros, fast, maneuverable, and lightly armored, were the apex predators of carrier aviation, boasting a 12-to-1 kill ratio. Dogfighting a Zero was considered suicidal. In September 1941, Thatch, commander of Fighting Squadron 3, received an intelligence bulletin detailing the Zero's superior performance. He realized his Wildcats couldn't outturn, outclimb, or outrun it. That night, he used matchsticks on his kitchen table to simulate air combat. He discovered the standard three-plane formation was ineffective. He concluded the basic unit had to be a pair, watching each other's tails. But a single pair wasn't enough. The answer was two pairs, flying abreast. If a Zero attacked one pair, the other would turn towards the attack, forcing the Zero to confront guns head-on or disengage, only to find the second pair on its tail. This geometric trap, which Thatch called the beam defense position and his pilots dubbed the weave, didn't rely on individual brilliance, but on coordinated teamwork. He tested it against Ensign Edward "Butch" O'Hare, a gifted pilot, with Thatch's planes flying at half throttle to simulate the Wildcat's performance handicap. O'Hare attacked from every angle, but Thatch's defenders consistently ruined his attacks or got into firing position. O'Hare's famous words, "Skipper, it really worked. I couldn't make any attack without seeing the nose of one of your airplanes pointed at me," became the foundation of American carrier fighter doctrine. The Thatch weave was first proven in combat at Midway on June 4, 1942. 6 Wildcats, led by Thatch, escorted torpedo and dive bombers against a numerically superior Zero patrol. Despite losing one plane and another having a dead radio, Thatch, using hand signals, coordinated his remaining 3 fighters in the weave. The Zero pilots, trained in one-on-one duels, kept committing to the bait, only to be met by a second Wildcat's guns. Thatch personally claimed 3 kills, with his squadron achieving multiple confirmed Zero kills for the loss of 1 aircraft. Within weeks, the weave spread throughout the U.S. Navy and Marine Corps, Lieutenant Commander James Flatley named it the Thatch Weave. Marine pilots at Henderson Field on Guadalcanal, known as the Cactus Air Force, used it against the Tainan Kokutai. Joe Foss, a Marine ace, used variants of it. Even dauntless dive bomber crews adopted it. It scaled, working for fighters, bombers, and mixed flights. Saburo Sakai encountered the Weave's effectiveness firsthand. On August 7th, diving on what he thought were Wildcats, he instead faced dauntless dive bombers. A rear gunner, Harold L. Jones, fired back, shattering Sakai's canopy, creasing his skull, and blinding his right eye. Despite partial paralysis, Sakai flew his damaged Zero 560 nautical miles back to Rabaul, a testament to his skill and determination. He survived but lost vision in one eye. The Imperial Japanese Navy never developed an equivalent to the Weave. Their pre-war decision to maintain a small, elite pilot training program and their refusal to rotate veteran pilots home meant their experienced flyers were lost to attrition. Replacements, products of rushed training, lacked the experience to recognize the geometric trap. Conversely, the U.S. Navy vastly expanded its pilot training, rotating combat-experienced aviators home as instructors. By 1945, Japanese pilots had less than 100 hours of flight time, while American pilots had around 500. The F4F Wildcat, with the Weave, achieved a 6.9-to-1 kill ratio, while its successor, the F6F Hellcat, reached over 13-to-1. The Battle of the Philippine Sea in 1944, dubbed the Marianas Turkey Shoot, saw barely trained Japanese teenagers in obsolete aircraft pitted against skilled American pilots. Thatch's brilliance wasn't just inventing a tactic, it was proving that teamwork could always defeat individual virtuosity. He made mutual support a transferable piece of geometry that any pilot could learn quickly. The Japanese, whose doctrine centered on the individual ace, could not adapt. They continued to send men to die alone against opponents who had agreed to fight in pairs. The Thatch Weave's principles, two aircraft watching each other's tails, the bait and the hook, the geometric trap, are still taught in Western air combat training today. It was the moment American systematic thinking proved superior to Japanese individual brilliance, a shift from which the Japanese never recovered. Many who made it work did not live to see the end of the war. Butch O'Hare was lost in a night engagement in 1943. Robert Allen Murray Dibb, the Green Ensign who made the Weave work at Midway, died in a flying accident in 1944. Saburo Sakai lived a long life, becoming a Buddhist and a critic of the war. In 1983, he met Harold L. Jones, the rear gunner who had nearly killed him, exchanging gifts and shaking hands. Jimmy Thatch had a distinguished 40-year career, becoming a 4-star admiral. He pioneered anti-submarine warfare doctrine, templates for which were used throughout the Cold War. He died in 1981 in Coronado, the same town where he had conceived the Weave. He always deflected credit to his pilots. The story of the Thatch Weave is a testament to ordinary men solving seemingly insurmountable problems with ingenuity and teamwork. It is a vital chapter in the history of air combat, a reminder that innovation often springs from simple insights and the courage to implement them.